Hi guys, and welcome once again to Curated Logic, where we try and up your brain game. But alas, today I feel we are not really trying to up your brain game. Rather, we are trying to save you from a nap, turning your brain to mush. Well, actually, that is not fair. It is not as bad as all that, but it is, in my opinion, my least favourite app I have ever played. Ever. Now, this is a big call, and I have tried a number of other apps that don't have as good a graphics or playability, or don't even use your brain much. So, why is this my least favourite app of all time? I tell ya, a hell of a lot of this is because of disappointment. The game that this app features is one of my favourite games of all time. The film version of this board game is, to me, a classic that I have literally seen over 150 times. And that's not a lie. Much to my siblings' distress, I played the SNES version of this game over and over, no matter how repetitive it became. I played the PC version over and over until the CD-ROM wore out. And I literally used to spend my weekends with my little sister playing a real-life version of this board game, forcing her to play Colonel Mustard and all the other men, so I could feel my oats in a dress and heels playing my all-time favourite character from a board game, Mrs. Peacock. Of course, you all should know by now that I am talking about the classic game Cluedo. Between this and Agatha Christie novels, murder mysteries were my life for many years, and to this day I get little more enjoyment than solving a whodunit. So, you can imagine my excitement stumbling across this favourite of board games in app form. And even though it might be unfair to put decades of love and expectations on this one app, I could not help it. However, that love was not returned. Rather, it was dangled in front of my face and offered to me at a price. Okay, so let's forget all about the melodrama I just spewed out and get to the brass tacks. As I so often do with games and app reviews, I like to start with design. Now, I'm the first to admit that Cluedo is a simple and repetitive game. I completely understand why some people would get bored easily and seldom play. Because of this, a good Cluedo video game needs to have great artwork and evoke the anticipation and intrigue of a real murder mystery. Also, as Cluedo is an old game, it really doesn't have a specific design to follow outside the layout of the mansion. Any illustrations on the card or on the board itself change and evolve with the times. But sometimes, evolution is not necessarily a good thing. Now, this might sound like I am being a stick in the mud, and I just want things how they were. But I have to say that classic games are classic for a reason, and when you try too hard to bring the design into the present, it can sometimes cheapen the brand. This is what I feel happens with this app. From the outset, the illustrations and the feel of the app reminded me of every other point-and-click hidden object adventure game I have ever played. These types of games have their place in the milieu of current gaming, but they do not offer anything groundbreaking. If anything, they are made for the masses. As a true classic, Cluedo deserves so much more than this, but doesn't get it. Everything aesthetically feels outdated, recycled, and, well, gross. There was no sense of the refinement or the quality I have come to hope for from established titles. I was just all round let down. But to me, this wasn't the most disappointing aspect of the game. As a die-hard originalist, any new characters added to the lineup of the cast was, to me, unnecessary. But as long as I could play my classic Cluedo, I was usually not fazed by them. However, when Hasbro officially replaced Mrs. White with Dr. Orchid in 2016, I hated it. Again, I just felt like there was little point in tampering with a classic. So, of course, when I was reminded of this by seeing Dr. Orchid as one of the main characters in place of Mrs. White in the app, my heart sank. I just wanted to play the Cluedo I knew. Is that too much to ask? Apparently, yes. Because when I tried to add Mrs. White as a character to play, I was presented with this. Yep, I had to pay for her. This is just insane to me. You are immediately isolating those who like the classic game and asking them to pay for the privilege of playing it how they used to by paying more money on top of the cost of the app. Really? And then, of course, I noticed you could buy different outfits for the characters to wear. That's not a grab for cash at all. That is doing something nice for your customers who have been with you for 30 years. But seriously, how cheap, outdated, and uninspired do these images look? I wouldn't pay 10 cents for one, let alone $3. They add nothing to the game. They are just a way to try and get more cash out of the product. And you know from my Scrabble Go review how much I hate that. But still, I pressed on. I love Cluedo so much that I really wanted to be inspired by the gameplay and feeling of nostalgia and anticipation it has so often brought. And then I hit another hurdle. I initially went straight into the game playing the Tudor Mansion, thinking this was the original board. But when I got into it, I realised it wasn't. Not only did you start in the middle of the board, but the number of moves to get to each room was different. And the feeling of the board generally unappealing. This was not helped along by two things. First, the animations when you were making suggestions and accusations were of the same ilk as the illustrations in the main menu. There was nothing inspiring about them and they brought no excitement or joy to me. Actually, no emotion at all. They were just there. Secondly, and more frustratingly, when you are trying to fill in your notepad, the game continues on behind you, so you may miss what someone suggests, the card another person shows, or to where a computer character is moving. This just felt sloppy and didn't allow you to take your time filling in the notes because you thought you might miss something. In the end, I was not enjoying the whole thing so much, I made a premature accusation, got it wrong, and lost. Once I was done with this game, I decided to go back to start another game to see if I could, in fact, play on the original board. Now, there are no prizes for guessing what I found. Yep, that's right. I had to pay for the luxury of playing the original board as well. I know it is ridiculous, but I'm actually getting riled up right now thinking about it. If you are going to make a Cluedo game, make it for both the people who are new to the game or only know the most modern incarnations of the game, and for those who have spent hundreds of dollars on everything Cluedo over the years and grew up with the original game. From there, even though I think it's gross, push for more money with your different artworks and boards. Fine. Just don't make me pay extra for something I am sure most Cluedo players would expect to come standard with the original purchase. Also, I just wanted to point out that to get access to all the boards and characters infinitum, you have to pay almost $60. That's 10 times the amount you originally paid for the app for offering things that add very little to the whole experience. To be honest, I don't know what else to say about this app. It sucks. It tries to squeeze money out of players and disrespects lifelong Cluedo lovers. And whilst this all may sound over the top, that is how much of a lover of Cluedo I was. I give this app 3 out of 10. It does still have Cluedo in there, but the worst version I have ever come across. If you want to actually up your brain game, follow Curated Logic on any of the socials listed below, or you can support us through Patreon, which is also linked below. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are keeping safe and happy. Until next time, keep upping your brain game and have fun. See ya.